Okay, so let's learn another piece of music. In the very beginning, when we were looking at the basics, I talked about playing chords. And in that example, I was saying, let's just take finger 1 and finger 3 and finger 5 and just get comfortable playing those 3 notes, not playing finger 2 and 4. And I also mentioned to, not be worrying about trying to hold your fingers out of the way or stick a pencil under your fingers. I really don't recommend you do anything like that. It's really just a matter of having my attention on 1, 3, and 5. Now, you can build your way to being able to do this. So, one of the ways you can do that, if we're going to play a chord, have a look at what I'm doing on the keyboard. I'm just going to hold my thumb down. I'm going to just then hold my finger 3 down, and then I'm going to hold finger 5 down. So I've actually just trained the brain that these are the only fingers that I'm going to be executing. I'm not trying to force them. You'll notice that I haven't got tension in my hands. In fact, I want you to try to be aware of that. If you can feel you're trying to tighten your way up and use strength to do it, it's actually going in a different direction. We want this to be nice and loose. Just 1, hold down finger 3, hold down finger 5, very gently, so the hand's still quite loose and soft. Another way you can help yourself to build this shape, have a look at this. Just hold down finger 1 and 5, so we've just got the outer notes. And you can still see my hand is nice and soft. And while you're holding down the outer notes, you'll see you'll be able to just move your 3rd finger. Just get used to bringing the 3rd finger down. Once again, we're not looking to do this weird thing, bending down or gripping up like this. It's just a nice straight from the arm through the wrist, through the hand, and then a gentle curve, holding fingers 1, 3, and 5 down. And we're doing exactly the same with the left hand, fingers 1, 3, and 5. And you can build that the same way, either 1 note at a time, holding them down, maybe the outer 2 notes and then finger 3, not worrying about tension or strength, trying to keep it nice and soft. And once you've got that shape, I'm going to assume now that you've had a chance to process this and you're able to just get it comfortably in the hands. I want you to be able to just play a chord anywhere. I mean, there's lots of chords and there's lots of different chord shapes and configurations. Don't worry about that now. For now, we're just going to be working on our basic shape of that 1, 3, 5. Fingers 1, 3, 5. But it would be good, I'm doing it now with the left hand, you can be playing this anywhere. Higher or lower notes. I just want you to get used to that shape. And it's the same with the right hand. You can just be playing it, anywhere that you want to, just getting used to that. Or it might be a matter of you just playing, both hands together. So, let's do this in the context of a piece of music. It's going to sound great. So the process is very, very simple. Let's have a look and see what it is that I want you to do. Left hand, I'm going to get you to play a chord, and C is our bottom note. Here's middle C. We've got our little white note, white spot as the reminder, which is just being used for the filming. And so I'm going to put my hand on the C just below middle C. And here's my shape. Now, what I want us to do, I want to just get used to holding this down, and then when we're ready, we're just going to move it up to the very next note. And then we're going to move it up to the very next note. So I'm just slowly working my way up the keyboard, playing the chord on the same, in the same shape, but just moving it up from one note to the next. Just for the purpose of what we're doing today with this particular project and this particular piece of music, I'm going to give these chords a name. And there's all sorts of things that we can learn about how to name chords. I'm going to get down to the simplest thing that I can think of, and we're just going to apply it to this chord here. Let's have a look and see. We've got C on the bottom. For now, I'm just going to call this a C chord. Now, I'm going to take my hand and move it up. And now what note is on the bottom? Well, if it's next to C, moving up, it's D. I'm going to play that. I'm going to call that a D chord. Now, there are all sorts of D chords that have got different qualities. The fact remains that it is a D chord, and for now, that's all I'm going to name it. Just call it a D chord. I'm going to move my hand up to the next note, and it happens to be the next letter of the alphabet, of course. So it's an E chord. I'm moving up to an F chord, and then moving up to a G chord, and to an A, and to a B, and back to a C. And we can do exactly the same thing now with our right hand. I'm going to play a C chord. I'm calling it C because C is on the bottom. Don't turn this into a rule. Even though it's accurate, there's a lot to the naming of chords, and it is accurate to call it a C chord. We're going to move it up one note to the next letter of the alphabet as well and play a D chord. Don't worry about the quality of chords. Don't even worry if you're not sure what I mean by that. All we need to worry about for now is we're keeping that same shape, which is just going from, the every other sort of white note, or if we were to draw it almost like a join the dots, it would be just a straight line. Moving that up to the next position, E, moving it up to F, moving it up to G, moving it up to A. I want you to do just a little bit of this. Excuse me. Don't turn it too much into a drill or an exercise, just enough so you can get a familiarity with it. Okay, so once you feel like you've got that chord down, and for many of you, you would have found that this came to you very naturally. Some of you, it may have been unusual in the beginning, but you processed it when you first covered the basics. Wherever you're at, it's fine, but we're now at a stage where we do want to get that shape into your hands, and we do want to get it comfortably. So the what to play, for now, is a chord in our left hand, and what I want you to do is I then want you, I've got a C chord here, C is my bottom note. I want you to do the same thing with your right hand on the C above where your left hand is. So we're going to go chord, chord. And now watch what I want you to do. I'm going to get you to play something that I call a broken chord. We're just going to break up the notes. Watch how I do this. I'm going to play a C chord in my left hand, and then my C chord in my right hand, and this is the one on middle C. And once I've played the two chords, my left hand and my right hand, I'm going to break the chords up. Watch this. Bottom note, middle note, top note. Bottom note, middle note, top note. That's the whole process. Once again, left chord, right chord, bottom, middle, top, bottom, middle, top. Without knowing, you've learned the majority of the song that we're going to be moving towards in just a moment. So after you've done that, I want you to just move everything up one note. So the C chord in our left hand comes up to a D chord. The C chord in our right hand comes up to a D chord. It's chord, left hand, chord, right hand, and then break the chord up. Bottom, middle, top, bottom, middle, top. Great, let's move everything up one note. I've now got an E chord. Left hand, right hand. Now break it up. Bottom, middle, top, bottom, middle, top. Okay, great. We're going to keep that process and move it up to F, move it to G, move it to A, move it to B, until we get back to where we started on C, although it's moved up to the next higher C. Okay, so quite a bit involved, yet at the same point of time, it's pretty simple. All we've talked about now is the what to play. I'm actually going to dive in a whole level deeper right now, and I'm going to play exactly what I did against a beautiful soundtrack produced by my son, Chase Moore. It's just a lovely piece, and it's going to give us an opportunity to process our chords in the context of feeling as though I'm having a really rich, lovely, warm musical experience. The what to play is everything that I've covered. It's straightforward. It's just a chord, the same chord, higher, and then breaking up the notes one at a time. And then just moving it all up to the next note. Chord, chord, broken chord, broken chord. Moving it up. Chord, chord, broken chord, so on and so forth. Let's have a listen to how this sounds when I play it in the context of the soundtrack. Okay, let's do that right now. Chord, broken chord, broken chord, 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 just moving up and breaking up the chord, moving up, chord, chord, broken chord, 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 broken chord, moving up, broken chord, 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 broken chord, and then I'm back to C. Now watch what I do. I'm going to change it up here. Let's see if you can find out what I'm doing. sounds so great. It's so beautiful. It's so simple. The what to play has very few components. The how to play it, well, I've just processed it enough until I'm able to do it smoothly and evenly, and now I'm playing it in the context of a lovely musical piece. Now, second time around, I did something different. It certainly looked a bit more fancy, but let's break it down and just see how ridiculously simple it really is. Here's what I was doing. First time around, like we talked about, I'm just going chord, chord, and then I'm breaking it from the bottom to the top, and then moving everything up. Chord, chord, broken chord. Okay, and we just worked our way through. Second time, here's what I did. Getting used to working with a whole lot more area of the keyboard. It looks more interesting, it sounds more interesting, it's more pretty, it's more beautiful. But you know what? It's so simple. Have a look at what I'm doing. I'm really just playing a chord at my C chord, and I'm breaking it up, playing the same C chord, same chord, but just higher, breaking it up. Now, all I'm going to do now is, as I'm playing this, I'm just lifting my left hand over, and I'm putting it in position on the next chord, the next C chord, and I'm breaking it up. And then while that's happening, I'm taking my right hand and I'm putting it on the next C chord and breaking it up. Now, if you can get that process, you've got this whole song nailed. Okay, well, let's have a look and see what is the what to play that I'm going to need to figure out in order to do this successfully. It's really straightforward. We've already done the first part in our first round where we had the chord broken. It's this bit here where we come across and play this chord. That's the part. Now, if you want to just get used to isolating that, that's a really good idea. So all we're doing now is taking our C chord in the bottom, we're playing the one in the right hand, and we're going to be putting this in place. Now, you don't need to get into any weird twisting. All you really need to do is just let your hand fall quite comfortably and quite naturally on the C. Now, is it going to take you a little while to get used to the physical gesture of that? Perhaps. Is that any problem? None. It's just really straightforward. What's the speed of progress? However long it takes. Every time, always. You just be very patient and gentle and compassionate and kind with yourself, and you just let yourself figure out these things. Really, if you get this gesture of going from here over to here, just like I'm doing, I'm a C chord, and I'm just getting used to lifting my hand and putting it on a C chord. You could take your time processing that. I recommend doing it without the soundtrack in the beginning, so the soundtrack isn't sort of encouraging you to try to get over into the how to play it. We're still worrying about the what to play when we're learning these gestures. Just take your time and get used to crossing over. Once you feel like you've got that, it's sort of the same thing, but it's in reverse. First time you came over, second time you come under. So you're just going to be going from the C, coming under to the C. From the C, coming under to the C. Okay, no twisting, no weird part with the shoulders or arms. It's all, have a look and see. I've got nice straight arms. I come across and I'm there. I come under and I'm here. I haven't needed to lean forward and obscure my vision. I'm sitting back nice and far away from the instrument, but I've got the whole instrument right in front of me. So now once I've got that broken chord, broken chord, broken chord, broken chord. Really, that's it. Why? Because all I've got to do is that exact same thing, but just move it up one note to the next position, to the D chord. Coming over exactly the same way. Exactly the same way. All the learning was done when we learned it in the first chord. Moving up to the E chord, same thing, same thing, same thing, same thing, and so on and so forth. It sounds great. It's really beautiful. You might even want to have fun with that, and just as a solo piano piece, and just once you've gotten this down, you can pick up the speed if you want to. Personally, I love the experience of being able to play it in the context of the ensemble and the entire music production, and so that's the great benefit of working with the soundtracks. So, any rate, there we have it, a beautiful piece of music. We've really processed chords. We've got broken chords. We're able to expand and make more use of more of the breadth of the instrument. We're doing it in the context of playing with other musicians by playing with our soundtrack. We're making fantastic progress, and heck, we've only just started.